everybody. Wake up. So excited to have y'all here for our launch for Grayson and Zach's latest book, which is The Expert Effect. So I'm joined here tonight. I have the great honor and privilege to be joined here by Grayson McKinney and Zach Rondot, who are the authors of this fantastic book that you're going to hear a lot more about. It's called The Expert Effect, a 3-part system to break down the walls of your classroom and connect your students to the world. So welcome, team. So great to see y'all. How you doing?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Sarah, for having us. We are so excited. It's been a big day already, and we're excited for our launch party.
Yeah, super excited.
Yes, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. It's great to be here.
So excited to have y'all here. So thank you so much for joining us. So what we're going to do is that without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. So just like any, superheroes, I know my husband's a big Marvel comic guy. So there's an origin story, and there's an origin story for you all. What is your origin story to bringing this great project to life?
Yeah, so it's one of my favorite stories to tell, actually. We say we've been writing this for 2 years, but really this book is about 8 years in the process, because I'm finishing my 8th year teaching. And the way we first met is on the 3rd day of the school year in 2013. I was fresh out of college, going into a teaching interview, hoping it was my final one. So I walked into Grayson's classroom to teach my sample lesson to his 4th grade students about nonfiction text structures. And then I guess you could say the lesson went well, because about the next day we were grade level teaching partners teaching in the rooms next door to each other. So this book is kind of a culmination of everything that's happened since that day. And Grayson, you want to share the next part of our story?
Yeah, so after that fateful day in September, and we got this green teacher straight out of Central Michigan, we ended up realizing that we had a lot in common. A lot of our philosophy was the same, and we taught down the hall from each other for a few years, and then it just happened this one year that there was only 2 sections of 4th grade in our school, and we were like, it's just going to be us. It's going to be the only 2 male teachers in the building. It's going to be new set of kids. What if we did something just kind of out of the box? We've got these walls in our classroom, and they can be kind of folded away to make these flexible learning spaces. And for as long as I had been there, nobody had ever opened them. And I was like, well, what if we opened this wall and made the mega classroom? And so we did. We ran it by everybody that needed to have input. And we ended up having our 2 combined classes in this giant classroom. We called it the 4th grade learning lab. And that year was pivotal because it was our first year co-teaching. We had 56 4th graders all under one roof. And we had to figure it out. So it kind of led to a lot of different strategies, a lot of problem solving, a lot of okay, this isn't working. Let's change gears and go with it. And it was really a formative year. It changed the way that we thought about teaching and learning for the better. It gave us the confidence to take risks, and it kind of set us on a course.
Totally. That is so cool. I love that you all literally broke down the walls and got together in the same space and just just combined your classrooms and we're learning together. That is just super, super cool. Huge shout out to people who are watching and commenting. We have Michael in the house who's saying dynamic duo. So thank you for tuning in, Michael. Yes, Michael's awesome. And we have
hey, Mike.
Yeah, hey Mike. And we have Savage Bear, aka Christian, saying hi to Mr. Rondot.
This is one of my 4th graders. He said he was going to tune in.
Nice. Oh, fantastic. Oh, and you have some more popping up too. Blocks, Builders, and Bugs is saying wow. So yes, very impressive story. I agree. And Noah is
another 4th grader. Hey Noah.
Yes. So awesome. So awesome. All right, that is great. So in your book that you all just wrote, what topics do you focus on within the book?
Yeah, so our book is broken into different sections, and the very first part of the book, kind of the introduction, is us setting the stage for why do we need to, have an innovative, the culture of innovation, and just start thinking about schools differently a little bit. And then we go into our 3 parts of the expert effect system. So part 1 is getting students to learn from outside experts. As teachers, we no longer have to be the smartest people in the classroom all the time. We can rely on experts. We can get virtual field trips. We can get call on community experts or have people Zoom in with technology. It's so much easier now too, to teach our students. So our favorite story from part 1 is we were teaching a unit on entrepreneurship, the 2 of us as teachers, not entrepreneurs. So Grayson actually tweeted to the creators of Flipgrid, our favorite company, and they Skyped in with us and taught our students about entrepreneurship, which was a much more real experience than us like reading from a 15-year-old textbook about the entrepreneurship cycle. So the first part is just kind of getting why it's important to get experts and how those can create opportunities. Grace, you want to talk about the next parts?
So for me, like the ideas from this book came from a number of years ago after that first year when we were co-teaching, and our district played host to a countywide like coalition of school leadership teams to see what deep learning actually looked like in practice. And so it was a full day thing. In the morning, my 4th grade students welcomed a visiting team of teachers and principals and central office people to give them a taste of all the different like types of deep learning opportunities that we'd been experiencing, like using Minecraft to do social studies, immersion like games, student-led podcasting, hands-on science assessments instead of fill-in-the-blank tests. The work that we had done with cultures of thinking routines and so on. And my kids manned the station to explain one facet to our guests. And in the afternoon, it was up to me to host my own station through which these adults, having gone on these school visits, now they had questions and they wanted to hear more. So they're coming over, rotating through, and I kept telling the story over and over. And just like in middle and high school, whatever you give to the first hour is going to be different from what the 6th hour gets, because by the end, how to kind of sell this idea. And so I was able to like boil it down to this philosophy of like, Zach and I keep asking the 3 same questions. Who can we get our students to learn from? What can they create as they do the learning? And then who can they teach? And so after that, the outline for this book basically wrote itself. We knew that we wanted to touch on those phases that we were taking successful projects through. And, we wanted to basically distill that down to a formula that anyone could replicate, no matter what subject they were teaching or no matter what grade level they were at.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love seeing like how your students were the experts like in the book. That was super, super cool. Absolutely love that. All right. So, we have Kiki also who's saying hi.
Hi, Kiana.
Thank you for everyone who is watching and tuning in. And now, as our good friend Melody McAllister would say, come and knock on our door. We have somebody here.
Yay, we have a guest
waiting for you. So we're going to add to the stream Mrs. Elizabeth Stayer. So, hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Hi. Good evening, everybody. Congratulations to Zach and to Grayson. This is a huge day, and I'm so excited that your book is finally out into the world.
Yay. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thrilled to join you. So I wanted to make sure I said congratulations, but I'm so glad that Grayson was just talking about who can the students learn from and who can we teach? Because for me, that was a phrase that resonated for me as I read this book. And I just thought that was such a good, guiding piece to have, that the students were always thinking about. So I'm glad that we've highlighted that tonight because I think that's important.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are so glad to have you here today. So, so you all work together, correct?
We don't actually.
You don't? Okay. I'm sorry.
No.
So how do you know each other?
So I'm a kindergarten and 1st grade teacher at the Roper School in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, which is an independent school for gifted learners. And I went to Troy Public Schools for a bit of time, where Grayson and Zach teach. But I know and used to work in school with Grayson's wife, Brianna. And I've actually never met Zach in person. So we've only connected through social media like Twitter and Facebook. So.
Absolutely.
But she was a huge help to us in giving feedback on the first draft of our book and providing a lot of comments that we could build off of. So
sure, no,
so much.
It has been my pleasure to work on this project with you both. One thing that really continues to resonate with me that I keep coming back to is the high level of student engagement that's evidenced throughout your book and the 3-part system that you both are using in your classroom. And it takes me back to, I don't know if either of you are familiar with the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi and his theory of flow. And so what his work showed was this flow, this all-consuming focus, as it correlated with happiness and creativity and being able to focus on task. And I keep coming back to that because his theory was applied to education in such that we really want our students to sort of get lost in time and to sort of lose, a sense of, recess is still 10 minutes away. They're so engaged in their learning that they're experiencing this flow and unaware, that there are these time constraints or these space constraints. And I keep coming back to that because for me, your 3-part system outlines how you have help to create this in your classroom. But in sharing this with other educators, you're really giving them the tools to create this flow experience in their classroom as well, such that their kids are really engaged at that high level that they're losing track of time.
Thank you for the academic reference. Like that, it's nice to hear that there's some scientific evidence behind that because our book has, it was never meant to be a work of philosophy. We wanted to give a lot of like real world examples of learning. And it's cool that you say that, the fun, the flow, because there's a lot of examples from that first year. And we actually had some of our original 4th grade innovators stop by after school today to congratulate us and ask for autographs. But in that class of 56, we get that see like kids who are not always not always that engaged with school really connecting because it's something meaningful to them. And Zach's got great stories about from kids who took it upon themselves to get some extra homework.
That's awesome. That choice and voice is big. That's important.
Yeah, when we give them that, they're excited about the learning process, and we kind of think about it like if students' work is only handing in a worksheet to us, then it's only so engaging. But if students' work is putting a podcast out that is listened to worldwide and getting downloads, that's what really raises that level of thinking with them.
That is so true. Like putting that work out there to an authentic audience, it's so engaging. Absolutely. But we really, really want to thank you, Elizabeth, for coming on. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we say goodnight?
I am thrilled that your book is now available to other educators to enjoy and to grow their practice with. So congratulations to both of you. And I look forward to seeing the impact that your work makes. So thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for coming on. It was great to meet you and to connect with you. And we hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. All right. Awesome. So fantastic. It was so great to hear from her. So we will, so another question that we have for you. So when people are reading the book, then why would you say that it's important to have students share their work with an authentic audience? And I know that y'all just touched on that. But if you all could elaborate a little more, why is it so important for students to have their work seen authentically?
Yeah, there's a really great quote that we heard from Rushton Hurley years ago when we were co-teaching. I always mess it up, but it goes something like, when students are sharing the work with the teachers, they want it to be good enough for us. But when students are sharing their work with the whole world and it's published publicly, they want their work to be good. So it's not just that good enough to get a letter grade on it and move on to the next. It's about putting their work out there so it raises the level of engagement. It makes them excited. And I call it, we named it in the book, selective perfectionism, where it takes kids who are normally not perfectionists all the time, but when they know their work is on a blog or it's on a podcast, they want it to be perfect and they want to redo their takes over and over, which ultimately leads to more learning because they're more engaged. So giving that audience just raises the bar a little bit and makes our work public for people.
Right. I think the big change came when we started considering what was going to be the audience. Who can our students teach? And in the book, we kind of break it down to growing your audience for not for you, but for your students, both near and far. So looking for opportunities for them to share their learning with, a classroom down the hall, or a buddy class that's, the fifth graders teaching the kindergartners, or, they've written this narrative story and now they want to, share it with the central office and the school board. Like giving them opportunities to take the learning outside of the classroom. When the students know that their audience is bigger than just the teacher, the conversation changes, the level of engagement changes, the level of, like Zach said, selective perfectionism. They want it to be really good. So it widens their perspective. It shows them that what they're learning in the classroom is not just for the grade book. What they're learning in the classroom is not just to please the teacher and get the gold star. The learning is really to improve either their lives, the lives of others, or the environment around them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That is very well said. And Melody's seconding that, saying, who can our students teach? I love this reality in practice. Absolutely. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do an author reading. This is like one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. So if you wouldn't mind just reading a selection from The Expert Effect.
Yeah. So Grace and I were talking about this a little bit today. And I picked apart, it's 2 paragraphs from the beginning that I think really sets the scene. This is on page 12 and 13. So it's right at the beginning of the book where we're really trying to set the scene for why this work is important. So that's the 2 paragraphs I'm going to read. So it starts with here. The traditional goals of the education system as we know them, reading, writing, and arithmetic, are no longer the most in-demand skills that students need for their future. Instead, the outlook of what's most needed for the next generation are skills like creativity and originality, analytical thinking and innovation, leadership, and social influence. Of course, the traditional skills are still important, and we're not saying to throw out every textbook or worksheet and don't teach essay writing, but there must be opportunities in school for kids to go deeper than this. We must give our students time to explore their passions and participate in exciting learning opportunities that grow these skills organically. Our world no longer rewards people who are just good listeners and memorizers. Our world rewards people who can take what they know and apply it to unique situations. Our world no longer rewards compliant workers who can do one task really well. Our world needs makers, doers, innovators, and game changers. So it's time we stop teaching the YouTube generation for an assembly line world. And that's a part from the intro that kind of sums up our why behind all of this and our, what the vision for the future holds.
Well, that is fire right there. I absolutely love that. And that just makes so much sense, like I remember seeing it was Adacat, Adam Juarez, Cat Goyette over in they're on the West Coast. They did a presentation. They had like a slide of the top 50 skills identified by Forbes, like from 1970, whatever. And then they showed like 2018 or whenever the presentation was. And it's crazy because the list like flip-flops. So, so absolutely. And I 100% love what y'all are saying. So awesome. Few more comments. Melody saying that y'all nailed it. Absolutely. I concur. Move away from compliance. Yes, yes, and yes. Wash hands, wash hands. I don't know if that's a reference to COVID, like staying safe. I agree with washing hands regardless. And Melody saying fire. Absolutely. Okay, great. So, all right. So time to dispel some myths. Okay. sometimes people who might not be familiar with PBL, they might think that it is that it's similar to turning everything into a project. So how is it different than just everything being a project?
So I had a quick story, but a few years ago, I was involved in a 2-year leadership program called the Galileo Leadership Consortium, which was one of the most impactful programs I've been a part of. But we did this huge 2-day training on project-based learning, and going into that training, like when they asked like who does project-based learning, my hand went right up. And about a half hour into that, I realized I was doing like PBL-ish. Like I was kind of just doing what we talk about is teach, take a test, and then like project as a reward at the end. Where really true project-based learning is launching with an event, going into a research cycle, which does involve lectures. There's a myth that project-based learning is no like lecture or standard teaching. That's still a big part of it, just a smaller part. But getting kids excited into a project that they're working through the entire course of a unit. So it's not just the end project. And another myth is that not all projects should look the exact same. If every student's project in your class looks the exact same, then it's not true PBL. There needs to be room for that creativity and student voice and student choice in the process as well.
Yeah, and a friend and mentor of ours, Trevor Muir, who is a educator and a professor at Grand Valley State University in Michigan, he describes this in a very tangible way. He's got a great metaphor. He calls those like last minute kind of like add-on projects as dessert projects, meaning they're not necessary to the actual learning. And it makes me laugh, but he says sometimes better left on the plate, right? Project-based learning isn't something that just comes at the end of a unit. It should be the main course. It's the vehicle through which students are gaining the knowledge and gaining the skills. So in order for students to truly learn through the process of the project, we believe that students need the chance to play the role of the professional, like working on an authentic task that could be taken on by the true expert throughout their unit of study. And that's where we had the idea of like, getting kids to learn from experts, to have them see that this isn't just some subject that, you have in school that's, from 10:20 to 10:55. It's something that people are devoting their life to. And when they're hearing from experts outside of the classroom, it makes it real. And then the other difference is between true project-based learning and just add-on projects is that there are like serious learning outcomes. Right? It's not just an arts and crafts project that you do that is somewhat related to, to whatever you're learning about. You don't just make like, a picture of a bird now that you've finished studying birds. Like there's more to it. And so we combine the type of project design that Zach was talking about that he took from, the Galileo and, PBL works. And there's a ton of people who are doing the research. They have really well documented things that work for teachers. And we're kind of combining that with the learning outcomes, which are the 6 C's, right? Michael Fullen and Joanne Quinn's deep learning, which is collaboration, communication, creativity, and, being a global citizen, character education, and critical thinking. So it's not just an add-on, it's where the thinking actually happens. And with dessert-style projects, you just don't get those same results.
I love that. So it's not just an add-on, it is the learning. So that, yes, that is a great way to put it. So one more question for y'all before we get to our giveaways. How do we as teachers learn how to do all of this? And I'm kind of also asking this out of curiosity because I do remember trying to do this one year and not being quite successful. So what tips do y'all have for teachers to learn how to do this? In this book, it's an evolution of years and years and years of practice. Not every idea in this book was used in one single school year. So our biggest advice we try to say when we're talking to teachers or presenting on this, and in the book, is to start small, but dream big. So start with one project or unit. And really it starts with going into your curriculum and becoming the expert on the curriculum you teach, in the sense of knowing where those little rabbit holes are in your year that you can dive down. Like
in, your first year teaching a grade, you don't really have that knowledge. You're kind of just going along and finding things, and sometimes you find them. But as you teach the same thing, you can find those units that you do that, like our weather project. We know we can take a big, go down a rabbit hole. We have gotten meteorologists in. We have green screens in our classroom to make weather forecast type presentations during those times. So we always say start small, but dream big, and know your curriculum and know where you can dive into those and find those areas to go deep and have fun with it.
Yeah, and over time, you start to build like the Rolodex of like who are the experts that you can call on. Like I know my class has gone back year after year to certain authors because we know that they're great talking with kids. We know that they successfully have met with us once, and we went back the next year. Or like storytellers. Like we just reconnected with a professional, not a storyteller, a story liver from not only the Detroit Historical Society, but then also she works at the Troy Historical Museum too. So year after year, you're able to build your repertoire and build these connections with experts outside the classroom, people who will make the learning come to life for your students.
That is so awesome. Yes, being able to Zoom in these people, or Google Meet them in, or Skype in. See, people still Skype, so whatever video platform. Just bringing in those experts. So I absolutely love this. I wish I had that book. I wish I had your book when I was doing it in my classroom. But this book is fantastic. So definitely want to encourage everybody out there to get your hands on it. And we do have one more special guest. So just wanted to welcome to our StreamYard today, Mr. Josh Hefner. So hi, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you. Thanks for joining.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. So what is your connection with Zach and Grayson?
So I am a former high school educator. I taught for 16 years, both English and physical education in the same district that they both are currently in. I was actually in the district for 8 years. And then I left to go into a sales position. But my experience with both these guys did not stop when I left teaching. Because both of my children, who are now, Drew is 15, he's a freshman at Rochester Adams High School. Nadia is in 7th grade. She's 13 at Van Hoosen Middle School in Rochester. My kids absolutely adore both of these. And I myself, as an educator, was a huge fan and was instantly impressed with everything that Zach and Grayson were bringing to the table. From the first time I met them, we were just reflecting on some professional development that we had, and both of those guys were running the show to present to like us high school teachers, and just I was really impressed with how obviously the things that they were bringing to the table, the outside of the box thinking, this mastery level of learning and using multiple resources. Even, gosh, that was probably 10 years ago now, guys. More than that maybe.
7 years ago, and
7 years ago, yeah.
That was the first time Grayson and I ever presented together, and we met you there, and now it's coming very full circle right now.
Yeah. So I said 10, you said 7. That's why I majored in English. You know what I mean? Not good with numbers. So, but yeah, and so my experience as an educator, but most importantly as a parent, is just my kids thrived in their classrooms, and just I saw how excited the kids in elementary school were just to be in their presence, right? And just to be involved in any type of level of instruction both of these guys were bringing to the table. And I think obviously when we're all salesmen, so to speak, right? We have to sell our product, which is our subject area, and these guys knock it out of the park, every single day. Like if there was a certain quota to meet, I mean, they were, top in sales and going to the president's circle every single year. So I was, like I said, I was always thoroughly impressed with their ability to just motivate their students with outside the box thinking, how they I think the true test of both Zach and Grayson as leaders is you empower the people around you, and they would empower their student to find alternative alternate means of resources and stuff to focus, with the projects that they had in their classroom. And now here it is, full circle, right? We're now 7 years later with the launch of this book. And I mean, I can't think of two better guys, educators, leaders in the profession to be bringing this to the table. So for what it's worth, as a former educator and a guy who's still coaching, and I've been a head varsity football coach for 16 years and still coaching. I mean, a big part of that is empowering the people around you and leading them, and these guys do a phenomenal job.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. We appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
That means, it means so much coming from a colleague and a parent of kids that we had. And you're somebody that we look up to so much. And so thank you so much for that and for being here tonight.
No problem. Yeah, whatever I can do to help. And I hope this thing goes just absolutely bonkers, and that you guys have, if you need any personal security when you're traveling the world, to give your talks, I've still got a few things left in me, so I'll be there for you.
Bring some linemen with you. That sounds good.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming, and what a beautiful tribute. So thank you so much for your kind words, and we appreciate you being on. So have a great rest of your evening.
You too. Take care.
All right. Thanks. You too. All right. Wow. That was really a beautiful tribute. So so thank you to Josh for that. And we did have a question come in from the audience. Cat and Dog Helpers asked, what inspired you to make the book?
It was kind of an evolution, like we said, over the past 8 years or so. And then, we've read a ton of education books, and we always had the dream of, everyone says they want to write a book. They want to write a book. And it really took us, we talked to some people about it. We threw some ideas around. And then once we had our original idea was just the third part, the authentic audience. And then we kept presenting. And each time we presented, we kind of got some feedback, and we just kept molding the idea. And one day it clicked. And then about the next week, Sarah, we contacted you and talked to you that week.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so that is a great question. Thank you, Cat and Dogs Helpers, for that. All right. So now we're going to do some giveaways. So the way that we do giveaways for the book, we have 2 copies to give away. So I'm going to go to Grayson first, and then I'm just going to scroll down on the comments, and then just tell me when to stop scrolling. And then that person will be our first winner. Okay. So just tell me when to stop.
Okay. All right. Ready? Stop.
All right. So that is Danielle Anderson. So congratulations. Yay. All right. So do you know this? Do you know Danielle Anderson?
Yeah, she's
Yes.
the ELD teacher right down the hall from us. So
Okay, perfect. So y'all know how to get in
joining.
contact.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. That sounds great. All right, so Zach, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. We have Blocks, Builders, and Bugs. So do you know Blocks, Builders, and Bugs?
I think I'll see him first thing tomorrow morning.
All right, awesome. So that's easy. So fantastic. So congratulations again. We really are so thrilled at EduMatch to be collaborating with you all on this project. Like, you all are amazing. Your impact, it's a tremendous impact, as we're seeing from all of the love, all of the comments, all of the testimonials that people are giving about you all. And we really appreciate having you in our family. So congratulations again. Super excited for y'all. Yay.
Yeah, thank you.
For coming. Thank you for being part of our big launch, our book birthday. Yeah, lots of good to come from this, I hope, and more in the future.
Yeah, and thank you, Sarah, for all of your help behind the scenes in this whole process in publishing it. We really appreciate it. It's been awesome, and we think we're just getting started here.
Yes. Oh yeah. I'm super excited to see what the future continues to hold for y'all, and just really looking forward to continuing along on this journey. And for everyone who's watching right now, if you didn't already get a book, then you can just go to this URL at the bottom, bit.ly/EduMatch Expert Effect. You can also connect with our authors. Their Twitter handles are there at the bottom of the screen. If you do want to buy in bulk, so quantities of 10 or more books, you can just email the email address that's scrolling along on the bottom of the screen, edumatchbooks@edumatchers.org, and you get a discount. And speaking of discounts, if you go to our website right now, edumatchpublishing.com, for the month of May, then we have a 20% off sale. So you can go ahead and get your copy there. Just use code WeHeartEDU. It should pop up automatically, but if it doesn't, you can just type it in, the letters WE Heart HEART-EDU, and that'll take 20% off. Or you could use code free shipping if you'd rather do that instead. But here's a hint: if you order more than one book and get to 50%, I'll give you free shipping anyway. So just go ahead and get that, right? Check out our other titles while you're there. Right, absolutely. And you'll also see that our brand new rewards program is popped up on the bottom of the screen. So you, the more you buy, the more you save. So definitely check that out. Want to give a huge shout out to everyone on the EduMatch Publishing team, as well as all of our fellow authors and all of our viewers tonight and everyone who will view in the future. So we want to thank you all again for your time and attention, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. All right.
Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.